You'll talk first.
Thank you for coming to watch Dr. Smith's video today. We encourage you to hit the subscribe button and the alert button. That way you can get notifications when he uploads a new video. Thank you for coming today.
So we hope you take the time to hear and think about, and if you have a book, read in the book about the concept and the topics that we talk about. They have a lasting effect. The intent is not necessarily to treat pain, but to make permanent, long-term correction with your whole family and your friends.
Thank you. Make sure you subscribe and hit the alert button. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Okay, today our discussion is digestion and diet. And it's simple to understand if you get the basics. Now, think of the triangle on page 27 in the book. You have the mental, emotional, spiritual at the top, and the chemical on one corner, and the structure on the other corner. I've told you many times, structure, meaning spinal column, pelvis, motion, balance, and alignment, remember, is more important than what you eat. Period. Now, today we're going to talk about diet. Where does diet fit in with what I just said? Well, let me help your mind a little bit. When they say the structure is more important than what you eat, we're not talking about winners and losers. Think of the Olympic medal stand with the gold. How far behind the gold is the silver?
About 100 to a second.
Just
not much.
barely. So that's where nutrition fits into the picture. It's not here and here. It's almost the same. And sometimes, for some people, it is number one. You can have a pretty good structure, like an A minus or a B plus, and you can have a poor diet, and we'll talk about what poor diet means. And from a where do we go from here standpoint, chemistry becomes more important because structure is already pretty good. Does that make sense? So today we're going to expand on some simple understandings of diet and digestion. Now, in your mind or on your paper, make another triangle, a small one. At the top of the triangle is protein. Protein is the main source of building blocks for you to build new tissue. We talk a lot about not being able to repair old damaged tissue. We talk more about developing new healthy tissue. I use that example of you can't train an old dog to do new tricks. We're gonna let the old bad dogs die off. We're gonna get puppies, that's new tissue. We're gonna train the new tissue. So whenever I talk to you about doing therapy, the therapy is to train the new tissue. But to build new tissue, in addition to supporting the body with magnesium, with the stem cell nutrients, we also have to provide building material. And the building material is protein. Think of the story of the three little pigs. Think of the third pig built a brick house. That's what we're after. We're not after a straw house or a stick house. We want to build a brick house. So you have to have protein. Now, we also have to have energy. So now we'll go down to the bottom legs of the triangle. On one side, we have carbohydrates. We can call them, those are the sugars. And they come in a wide variety. They come in very fast sprinting. That's sugar that's been processed, like white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, and fructose, all that kind of stuff. And we have natural foods designed and created by God that you eat from a natural source that have sugar in them, but they metabolize slowly. If you want to get scientific, you can look up the word Glycemic Index. It will show lists of foods and where they fit. Those that digest quick and easy to those that digest hard. And just for the note taken, you want to have in our diets, we want to have more of the slow or low metabolism, low glycemic index carbohydrates or sugars is fuel. We have to have fuel, a lot of it. On the other side of the triangle that we're talking about, we have fats. Fats are a fuel. And again, we have a wide variety. We have fats that are in nature, like you would find in olive oil, you would find in nuts, you find in grains. If you have the harder one, they find in bacon. Bacon is good, but it takes more work to get the value out of it. Does that make sense? Yeah, and you need a wide variety of both. Now, those of you who have seen Deborah will stop her foot and say, don't mix fuel. I may tell you, like if I was talking to my wife, as I would say to her, I want you to go fuel up the car. Well, she's never done it before. She really has, but I'm just making a story, okay? So she would go down to the service station, pull up to a pump, and get out and scratch her head because there's diesel and there's gasoline, and now there's a high octane gasoline. She doesn't know what to do. So she does what any other woman would do. She puts a little bit of diesel, a little bit of regular gas, a little bit of a high octane gas, and is kind of nervous but proud. And on the way home, she has a cloud behind her, and she gets home and says, I think there's something wrong with our car. It seems to have lost power. That's what happens to you when you mix fats and sugars at the same time. So Deborah will tell you not to do that. Protein and fat, protein and carbohydrate, and not two kinds of fuel. Now, in reality,
one meal
per meal.
per meal.
Per meal. Now, just to be fair, and so you understand the real picture, a lot of foods contain all three.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get paranoid about, I don't know what to eat. Just with that basic concept in mind, try to separate the fuels and eat them with the protein. And
So you said don't mix fats and protein?
Sugar.
Sugar.
okay, go back to the triangle.
Yeah, okay,
Protein's at the top.
right,
We have two legs.
right,
Fuel.
okay.
We don't mix the fuel.
Carbs and fats.
Now the body can burn protein as fuel. But think of it this way. If the trucks went on strike and the power grid went down and it's winter time or we're freezing to death because things are cold, when you burn protein from not eating, it's like tearing down the house, using wood in the house for fuel.
Yes.
Your body can burn your muscle for fuel if you don't eat enough fuel. That's protein. Did that make sense?
I have a question. So if you were gonna like make a protein shake in the morning, you wouldn't want to put protein, olive oil, and like say banana in it because that would be mixing the two
It's
things?
mixing.
Okay.
So the question is, how much do you mix? Because, and that's a perfect question. And my recommendation for you is that you start with a protein ring, and you put some olive oil in it, and you sip it, and you go, oh, gross. This is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how much sweetener do you put in? A whole banana, or maybe 2 strawberries, or a part of a scoop of the fruit and vegetable? You put just enough sweetener so that you like the product.
What you're eating. Okay.
You don't want to always have something nasty. It doesn't need to be nasty, but you want to respect the concept of the principle.
Okay.
That was a great question.
So if you have, like, for breakfast, you could mix an egg with bacon, but you should never have hash browns and bacon. I mean, not never, but they wouldn't be a good mix.
That's my favorite breakfast.
I know, right? You gotta fatten the car.
I got them all.
Okay,
But bacon's protein too. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, bacon's protein and fat.
the hash browns are mostly carbohydrate.
Right.
So the question is, can you have all the above? Yeah, but don't have a whole pile of hash browns. If you want hash browns, take a teeny bit. Same with juice. You know, you don't want to have a glass of orange juice? Go ahead, but don't have a big glass, just a small one. Teeny bit. Just enough sweetener to make it taste good. That's my recommendation. Now, generally speaking, with meat especially, there's much of the flavor is in the fat. The best meat is high fat, small quantity.
That's the best flavored or the best for you?
Both.
Oh.
We have cows. What's that kind of cow? Beef,
The Wagyu or the Angus?
Ragu.
Wagyu.
Spell it.
Wagyu.
Wagyu.
Wagyu beef.
Wagyu beef has slant thighs.
It's
They
Japanese.
They were bred in Japan. And if you buy a steak or one of those animals, you will pay more than 4 times
Oh, geez.
the amount you pay for Angus. Why? Because it has more fat in the meat. And it's a good flavor, and it's slightly different kind of fat. It's very good for you, but most of you will never buy it. You look at the price and say, there's no way.
So how does grass-fed beef factor into that?
As opposed to what?
Beef that's raised on grain.
Let me answer that question this way. any kind of animal that's raised, say in the wild, like in the pastures, whether the pasture has grass, peas, corn, alfalfa, if it's able to choose what it eats, it's far better than having an animal that's raised in a feedlot and is given ground up corn and soybeans and
That hot
All
slurry,
kinds.
they call it.
what?
That hot slurry
Hot
that
slurry.
they call it
Yeah.
in the feedlots.
Yeah, very, that's most common but least valuable to
The
use.
stench alone from it.
We live in a good area, we
It's supposed to be
can,
good
you
for
can
them
all
because it's
buy
fermented.
local
It's not.
grass-fed beef. I recommend that.
Question. If you're eating meat that's full of fat, then you've got a protein-fat combination. You should keep carbohydrates away from it, so you shouldn't have a baked potato with your steak.
Well, if you go to Texas Roadhouse, they give you a big baked potato.
I know.
If you go to Audrey Smith's kitchen, you get a 5-ounce potato, cut in half,
Oh.
loaded with butter and sour cream.
So small.
So the
Small
But
potato
is that with
is-
your steak?
Small
Yeah.
hash browns,
That's with
small
your steak.
Yeah,
potato.
and
the
with,
potatoes are low glycemic or high glycemic product, right? But the butter and the fat make it a low glycemic.
it doesn't change the potato.
It doesn't change the
No.
potato, but
No.
it doesn't compensate for the other.
Sour cream.
So we're trying to get a B.
B. Oh shoot.
We're not trying to get A, just a B. Okay?
All right.
We have to be happy eaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So about how many ounces if you were having beef or chicken?
You play cards,
Credit card.
About the same as
I
a
know.
deck of cards.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
A deck of cards is a little smaller than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
about
thicker.
the size of that. Okay.
We just bought a beef from my nephew and Audrey made a hamburger to try it out. And she said, this looked really good. So she divided the pound in two and made 2 hamburger patties. Guess what we didn't eat? About half of it. It was too much. So she said, next time you get a 1/4 pounder. That's what we should have started with. Okay. You understand that concept. Now, to have digestion be at its highest quality, we want to have this stomach relatively empty to begin with. So we don't eat after we eat. We start on an empty stomach. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't like to have breakfast. They say something like, well, I'm just not hungry. Well, if you're just not hungry at breakfast, you ate too much yesterday, and your body's not done with the project they gave you yesterday. That's why a lot of young women have morning sickness, because they ate too much. They get up in the morning, they're not hungry, they ate a little bit, and the body says, there's no way. How it goes. They can't handle it. So you want a moist, so you have a little bit of water, maybe 4 ounces, about 20 minutes before, on an empty stomach. So when you eat, your stomach is ready to go.
So don't snack between meals is kind of the.
That's why I ask the people, do you snack or graze? And the correct answer is neither.
So I have a grazer daughter, and she's raised her 2 daughters as grazers.
Yeah.
And that's how they subsist. They can't do big meals and then go hungry.
Well, the good news is that will save the Social Security
Money.
a lot of money, because they won't live to be old people. they'll die off sooner.
Excuse me.
I don't know.
They set in the stage for early death. Medicare wouldn't be happy because they'll die with a lot of slowly over time with a lot of problems from the gut being
Gut
abused. It's personal self-abuse.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment that I used to be a big time grazer, big time, before I started here. And once I stopped and got on meals at a regular time, I don't graze anymore. I don't even think about it.
And you do just fine.
Right.
It's just getting better and better and better slowly over the course of time. So let's talk about food volume and time.
Can I get you to clarify? You said 4 ounces of water. How far before a meal?
About 10, 20 minutes.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
Don't overhydrate. If you drink too much, then you modify the blood sugar. You've gone beyond the stomach. Now you're messing with the blood sugar.
How about drinking with meals? I heard that's not good because it dilutes the digestive juices and things like that.
That's what I teach is if you eat something bad, too sweet, too much flavoring, too much additives, and you have a significant amount of thirst, sip. The smallest amount of you need to sip to fix that problem. I went to lunch one time with our oldest daughter when her son was about 2. We went to a barbecue place. She ordered a 30-ounce Coke. Sat in front of this little kid, and he drank most of it.
Oh my God.
I said, I'm going to turn you in.
Child abuse.
Child abuse.
Yeah.
You're trying to kill your baby.
Wow.
Very bad thing to do. So again, do you drink water with the meals? Yeah, sure. How much? Again, just a sip to satisfy. And if you ate a bad meal, suck it up, wash it through, and start over again. Next meal, the next day.
What about John and I only eat twice a day. And he's never hungry, so I piece a little bit.
When you eat twice a day, you have to put more volume. You challenge the tissue tolerance. If you have a weak digestive system, you're far better to eat 4 times or 5 times small amounts than 2. 2 is, if you only eat 2, you need to be very cautious on volume. Now, the stomach, when healthy and empty, is about the size of the fist. You can eat 4 or 5 times that volume. If you go above the volume of a healthy stomach, you then have overstressed the process of digestion, and the body has to secrete acids to help you digest the foods because you ate too much volume. Volume is more of a health hindrance than food quality.
Well, he doesn't eat very little. He eats
say that
very
again.
little even then. So,
Quantity does you more damage than poor quality.
So you should be eating a fist-sized meal, right?
Ideally,
Okay.
I like your cereal in the morning. It stays with me until noon, you know, like 7 or 8 in the morning. And
thank you. Dr. Smith's famous cereal, you've heard me talk about that before. That's a very good regime. It gives you what you need, provides all of what we talked about. Now they've proven that the alpha-stat, that's what controls how much you eat, is run by time, not calories. And the time is about 20 minutes. So a healthy meal time would be about 20 minutes.
For length of time you're eating, you mean?
Start to stop.
Okay.
I know you all know that. I know you've been to a restaurant, you order an appetizer, you order a salad. By the time they get the food to you, it's been 20 minutes. You ate the appetizer and you're satisfied. But what do? You keep eating. You eat it anyway. You paid for it.
I take it home and eat it.
Smells good.
Yep. Take it home.
And you overdo it.
Or don't order.
Okay, let's go to the handout. Number 1, food craving is largely determined by habit or past routine, marketing done by manufacturers, merchants, and marketers. C, microorganisms located in the small intestine. Or D, personal level of scientific data, or what you know. Which is it?
A.
Pardon?
A.
All the above.
All of them?
All of them. All of them. Now, let me talk briefly about the 3 big M's. They're your enemies. Manufacturers, merchants, and marketers. If you, next time you go shopping, walk down the aisle that has cereal boxes and listen to the kids. The kids will be the boss of the shopping. Now, look at C. C, you put a big star by C. The microorganism located in the small intestine. Today when you leave, I'm going to give to you an article that talks to you about the communication that goes on between the gut and the brain. Now, for those of you who think you're in charge of what you eat, you're not. The things that guide you probably more than anything are the organisms in your small intestine. And I call it the zoo within. It's a microbiome. The health and condition of the microbiome, the gut, affects your food choice. If you've taken Flora Plus and have re-inoculated the intestine with friendly flora, I know that alone changes your appetite. It changes what you crave. It changes what you want to eat, because now you have healthy organisms and they want to be fed healthy foods. If you have had antibiotics anytime, if you've killed a lot of the friendly flora, you're going to crave things that are not healthy, because that's what they want to eat. You're feeding them.
Is it true the first thing you eat in the morning is protein, carbs, sugars, whatever, is what you'll crave throughout the day?
No.
So I can have a piece of chocolate for breakfast and not crave candy all day?
I think that's great.
Okay. Or cake or ice cream.
No,
That's what I feel like.
that brings up a question.
Yeah.
Is ice cream good or bad?
Well, I've been told that the fat in the ice cream, if it's true fat, that it will compensate for the sugar. It balances it out. Makes it into a...
Sounds like a marketer.
That was a health class.
Cream is good, the sugar's bad.
Maybe
So
depends
I-
on the ice cream.
I want to
and
know, is
ingredients
ice
of
cream
it.
good or bad?
Fat
That was a
creaminess
question.
of it.
That was a question, and the answer is It depends on the ice cream. If the ice cream first ingredient is what?
Cream.
Cream. Second ingredient is chocolate. If the second ingredient is sugar, or the first ingredient,
The sugar.
high fructose corn syrup,
Oh, yeah.
flavored by 9 other things, don't buy it. It's garbage.
Don't eat a ton of it.
Yeah, no need a ton of it.
All things in
Small-
moderation, right?
That's small dessert cups or cooking cups.
Yeah, that's good.
Ice cream.
When you go to the ice cream store, you go to the fridge and make your ice cream, a single scoop, child's size. That's all you need.
All I need is a taste.
That's all you need. Number 2, the quantity of food eaten per meal is often more important than the quality. True. So think of the 2 big Q's, quantity and quality. Quantity will do more harm to you than poor quality.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want less quantity and more quality.
So it still is damaging if you undereat.
Pardon?
If you're anorexic and you're undereating, is that still is more damaging than quality? So it's your quantity, too much or too little is still more important than the quality.
True.
Okay.
It's always important. Always true. 3, digestion is often negatively affected by the posture habits and misalignment of the vertebral motor units. True.
That's true.
In chiropractic words, that means if you have pinched nerves that go to the digestive system in any part, upper, medium, or lower, you will not get highest nutritional value out of the food you eat. And many times, that's the primary problem for not assimilating the nourishment that's in the food.
So we don't absorb it, right?
Liberal, number 3, no, number 4. Liberal mastication, that's chewing, is beneficial with each meal to ensure assimilation of nutrients. True. 5, because the gut is designed to properly utilize fat, protein, and carbohydrate, it is best to have a balance at least with each meal.
False.
Very false. A balanced meal is not equal amounts of the 3 things we talked about on the train. 6, lack of appetite in the morning is often due to overconsuming in the evening or day before. True. 7, the routine of having more than 2 or less than 1 bowel movement per day is often a sign of a functional gut issue that should be addressed. True. 1 to 2 bowel movements a day is a normal. Less or more than that is an indication of a functional, at least a functional and possibly a pathological gut issue. I saw a fellow yesterday, 70 years old, he had a stroke 10 years ago, and he hasn't recovered hardly any because he hasn't had the right kind of rehab for his brain. His main gut problem was caused from sedentary posture. The misaligned his vertebra motor unit, affecting his gut. Number 8, use of antibiotics can often have a long-term negative effect on the health of the GI tract and other systems. Definitely true. Always follow up. If you have to have an antibiotic, always follow up with a long-term counter therapy of the floraplex to reestablish a healthy flora in the gut.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
So that A Flora Plus is good for people who can swallow capsules, but what about like little children? A lot of little children are just dump it in something. A lot of little kids put on it, they get ear infections, and the doctor says, "Oh, you need antibiotic." When
And that's a
they don't,
major problem.
but if they just open the Flora Plus and put it in something.
In anything.
Well, good. Good to know.
Pediatricians currently have been told don't give kids antibiotics. But guess what happens?
Mothers
mom
and
says-
sisters.
Demanded.
Yeah. Okay, so want your kid to have an antibiotic, here we go.
Would it, if you can't get them to do the Flora Plus, would at least
You can,
a good yogurt work?
no,
No.
yogurt's not, yogurt is like peeing in the ocean, it doesn't do much good.
Okay. Okay.
Number 9, eating a wide variety of green foods usually has a positive effect not only on the pH, but also gives a prebiotic effect, thus enhancing the assimilation.
True.
Thus, you have a solid, and you have a solid with the meal. How big is a solid? What kind of a solid? We go out to eat sometimes, and they bring a bowl full of lettuce.
Iceberg lettuce.
That's not a solid. You know, when Audrey makes a salad, we got cucumber and radish and celery and
Spinach.
all that stuff. Spinach.
Zucchini.
But how much do we eat? A small amount. It's good to have a green salad with your meals. A small amount.
Human portion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not those platter size that they bring you when you order them. They're
Yeah.
like, you leave the
Number
dressing on the
the
side.
10.
so I can
Take it home and eat it later.
Assimilation is best when at the beginning of the meal the stomach is empty and well hydrated. True. 11. When chewing food thoroughly, each of the 3 types of salivary glands in the mouth have the ability to secrete in abundance. Right, 10 liters total.
Is what they're secreting?
Your salivary glands have the ability to secrete up to 10 liters of digestive enzymes to help digest, that means break down and assimilate the nutrients. Now, I often say in this class, and I recommend it to you, lay your eating utensil down between each bite. Now, if you watch a teenager eat, it's just like a conveyor belt. They don't chew, they just put it in and put it down. If you get in the habit, at least sometimes, of laying your utensil down and chew up until you swallow, then pick it back up, you will eat less quantity, guaranteed.
And you'll be satisfied.
You will be satisfied if you eat it for 20 minutes. I had a patient about a year ago told me that he's been to a lot of classes. And he said that's the one thing that's done me more good than anything you've ever said. And they do it. Lays the utensil down between. Number 12. When a full meal is consumed in less than 20 minutes, the available nutritional value is not assimilated. True. When our son Andy went to the Air Force Academy, from the time they walked into the mess hall till they were done and ordered to leave was 12 minutes.
That's
Wow.
pretty much the case in the schools nowadays too, that the
It
kids
is.
where
It's
they
like,
have multiple
come on.
lunch, so you're in, and I've heard how short a time, I'm like, that doesn't give you time to even chew.
Yeah, that's right. So at home, if you're going to eat 3 meals a day and you're laying out your routine for the day, how much time should you plan on to eat?
An hour.
1 hour, 20 minutes. Now, one of my wife's primary complaints in this life is Sunday dinner and Thanksgiving dinner. And they spend hours and hours and hours. We sit down, 20 minutes, it's done, which is a good thing. 13, the cost of nutritional supplements like digestion, OHSDSmith, liver, kidney, blood plus, and magnesium can add assimilation of value to whatever food is eaten. True. Should that money spent on those kinds of products in your budget be classified as healthcare, groceries, or insurance?
Yes.
Yes. To me, it's all. 14, due to the depletion of many minerals in the soil and the processing of foods, which, by the way, occurs in your kitchen, supplementation routinely is a type of insurance to provide the body with needed building blocks to repair, remodel, and regenerate.
Sure.
True. Danny, have you have any further comments or questions?
So we didn't talk about real salt in the digestion, but that's probably.
Okay, let me talk about real salt. In one sentence. Use it abundantly. Because real salt contains micro minerals that provide power for the DNA in different cells. And different cells need different minerals for power. They don't all need the same mineral. They don't use sugar, they don't use fat. The DNA uses minerals. So you can think of the DNA as like submarines that are powered by a mineral. Submarine gets plutonium. The DNA in the cells are the adapters. They adapt. So for example, when the temperature goes to 98 degrees or 95, and you've been used to 50, your body has to adapt to the temperature. The DNA changes the way your cells work in your body if you have proper fuel allowing them to do the job. If you don't have a wide variety of minerals, you miss out on that ability to compensate and adapt. And remember, if your body does not compensate properly, the compensation is breakdown, not health improvement. I'm going to say one more thing and we'll be done. As you age, if you don't get worse, if you just stay the same, you're improving. You're getting more healthy. If you just stay the same. For example, if you all in this room in 10 years were like you are right now, you would have all improved. If you go downhill, suck it up and accept it. It's your fault. We're all gonna die. And the goal is to die quick and easy. Hopefully at home. Hopefully you'll be healthy and one day you'll get feeling poorly and within a week you'll be gone. Or less. That's what that's like in the book I talked about the candle. The candle burns from the end all the way down to the bottom and it goes out quickly. That's a goal. It doesn't always happen, but that's the goal.
So
Tell me more about if your body isn't assimilating the nutrition that it should. Like our bones aren't assimilating and they're getting osteoporosis, but they can't assimilate the calcium in the foods. That's from alignment, a lot of alignment problems.
Part of it, yes. If you get you mentioned osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a form of disuse atrophy. It's a form of malabsorption. You can eat all the calcium but not get it because the gut is not healthy. It's not clean. It's not functioning properly. It could be because you're too acid, not enough greens. Could be because you have pinched nerve in the back. There's a lot of could be's. And usually, especially osteoporosis, usually has multiple triggers, multiple causes. If you have T-zone, you have a good diet, and we follow this stuff, you can reverse osteoporosis, and you can become normal within a year, probably.
I was diagnosed with a form of osteoporosis, and the last time I went back, I had osteopenia, and I said, yay. And the nurse looked at me, she said, yay? And I said, yeah, before it was osteoporosis, now it's osteopenia. So I'm getting better.
That's right. She's getting not only older, she's getting better.
Yes.
So your T-zone and your exercise and
Calcium,
your
food.
nutrition.
Yeah, that's what does it. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.